I've experienced 2 bankruptcies and a home eviction, all before I turned 12 years old. My wife had a time in her life when her family had to survive off food stamps. Thus, it's not a surprise that both of us struggle with the poverty mindset as adults, always feeling like we never had enough, insecure around people who look like they had money, and directly tying our sense of self-worth to how much we had in our bank account. But if experience has taught us anything, that is not a healthy place to be at. So in the spirit of breaking the mental and emotional chains that hold us back, let me share with you 10 steps to overcome the poverty mindset. And hi, if you're new to the channel, my name is Tay from Financial Tortoise, where we learn to grow our wealth slow and steady. Step 1 to overcoming the poverty mindset. Self-awareness. We must recognize that we have them in the first place. Before we can address a problem, we need to recognize that we have a problem. For my wife and I, it surprisingly took us a long time before we came to realization that we actually struggled with a poverty mindset. I personally never associated myself with having lived in poverty. Despite the financial struggles that my family went through, we always had roof over our head and food on the table, no matter how meager they may have been. And same with my wife. Though her family went through patches of hardship, she never really believed she lived in poverty. And from an official definition of poverty, that is probably true. The World Bank defines extreme poverty as people living on less than $2.15 a day, and that wasn't us. However, that doesn't mean we weren't dealing with the consequences of the money constraint and challenges that our families went through. For example, I remember when we first got married, whenever we went clothes shopping, my wife would always take me to Ross, a discount department store. And she would spend hours looking for the perfect shirt or dress at the perfect price so we could save money. At first, we didn't think much of it. That is until we started asking the question, is all the time we're spending at Ross really a financially smart decision? I know we can buy a shirt normally worth $40 for $20 at Ross, but how much time are we spending to find that $20 discount? Not to mention the energy and the mental bandwidth. We had this subconscious belief that we couldn't pay full price for clothes because that's how we were raised. Our parents shopped at Ross, and therefore we had to shop at Ross, not realizing that we were carrying on the tradition of poverty mindset without even realizing it. The first step to dealing with the problem is to recognize that we have a problem in the first place, which leads to the next step. Step 2 to overcome the poverty mindset. Take responsibility. Recognize that we have a problem, but more importantly, recognize that we have power over our response by taking responsibility. Stephen Covey, the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, talks about this word responsibility in his book. Look at the word responsibility. Respons-ability. The ability to choose your response. Highly proactive people recognize that responsibility. They do not blame circumstances, conditions, or conditioning for their behavior. We all have the power to pause and choose our response. My wife and I could have continued to say, we can't afford to shop at full price retailer for clothes. We can't pay full price, so we have to keep shopping at discount stores. That's how our parents shop for clothes, and that is how we will also shop for clothes. We could have stuck with that mindset, not willing to change. Or worse, blame our parents for our current situation. Look, I'm having to comb through busy aisles looking for discounts because of my parents. However, between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space, we have the freedom to choose our response. We have the freedom to choose our response. We can choose to let our poverty mindset continue to drive our behaviors, or we can choose to change and reframe, which leads to the next step. Step 3 to overcome the poverty mindset. Learn to reframe. Reframe our mindset and therefore our language around money. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, we become what we think about all day long. And I would expand this to include, we become what we say all day long. Poverty mindset has its own set of language. I know, because both my wife and I said this without even realizing it. I can't afford that, I'm broke. You know the rich, they just have something special that I don't have. I'm just not smart enough to make more money. Whenever we hear ourselves saying things like this, remember the earlier point about recognizing our poverty mindset. Understand that these kind of phrases are a result of our previous conditioning, by our upbringing, our parents, and our environment. If we want to break out of the poverty mindset, we have to catch ourselves and reframe it before we allow it to shape who we are as people. So instead of saying, I can't afford that, I'm broke, say, that sounds expensive. Maybe now is not the best time. Or I choose not to buy it because it doesn't align with my priority. Know that you're in the driver's seat making the decision what to say, not your poverty mindset. Step 4 to overcoming the poverty mindset. Increase your financial education. Deep down, a lot of our insecurities usually arise from lack of knowledge and information. Just recall a time when you arrived at your first networking event for work, or a new school when you didn't know anyone. You felt insecure and afraid because you lacked information. You didn't know many people, and you didn't know how to navigate around the room. But by your 5th networking event or your 2nd year at your new school, you felt more confident because you had more knowledge and information about your environment. You knew where the snacks were. You see your group of friends right around the corner, and you knew exactly where the bathroom was in case you had to excuse yourself. In the same way, when you don't have financial education, you'll always feel insecure about money and will continue to perpetuate the poverty mindset that haunts you. Break the cycle by expanding your financial knowledge. Learn how credit scores work. Learn the fundamentals of investing. Learn how to track your expenses. It's not hard. With a little bit of time and effort, you can know more about money than the majority of people out there. And watching videos like this goes a long way in helping you do exactly that. In the spirit of financial education, if you'd like to take your financial knowledge to the next level, for a limited time, I'll be opening up my calendar for one-on-one money coaching sessions. A dedicated time where you can receive personalized feedback directly from me. Or if you just want to learn my patented morning hair routine. The money journey can be quite lonely, and sometimes you just want to get some unbiased feedback without being sold anything. If you think this could be a value add to your financial journey, please go to my website to learn more. I'll also have a link in the description below. Step 5 to overcoming the poverty mindset. Get good with money. Actually, that's not enough. Get really good with money. Education isn't enough. We need to take action and really get good with how we handle money. Confidence doesn't just come from knowledge, it comes from the application of that knowledge into real action. If you've never invested your money before, start investing into your 401k. If you've never tracked your expenses before, pull all your credit card and bank statements and just go down the list to see how much you spent this month. If you've never looked at your insurance coverage statement, log in today and see how much your deductible is and if there's ways to reduce your premium. You'll make mistakes because perfect execution does not exist. But with more mistakes, you'll get better with money. I mean, that's pretty much the story of my life. The reason I feel confident talking about money today isn't because I made all the right decisions. It's because I made so many wrong ones. But I learned invaluable lessons from every single one of them. When you get good with money, this will naturally help you overcome the poverty mindset. Because one, not only can you start to actually afford things, but two, more importantly, it will give you the confidence to challenge some of the negative thoughts that will subconsciously pop into your mind. Whenever you hear yourself saying, I'm just not smart enough to make more money, you can actually look at your track record, see how well you're doing with money, and easily be able to reframe it as, wait, I am pretty smart. Look how well I'm doing with money. Step 6 to overcoming the poverty mindset. Ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen? My wife and I do this quite often. When we were at a junction in our life when my wife was thinking about cutting back our hours at the hospital because she wanted to spend more time at home, we struggled with pulling the trigger because we were so overwhelmed by everything that could go wrong. What if we have a major unexpected expense? What if the market tanks and so does our investment portfolio? What if my hair starts falling out? What if? So we took out a whiteboard, wrote down all the worst case scenarios, and actually mapped out what would happen. So what if the market tanked? Well, we keep enough cash in our savings account, so that should protect us for a bit. So what if we had a major unexpected expense? Well, we can just go back to increasing our hours at work. Essentially, a worst case scenario was how we were living at the time. So what if my hair starts falling out? Well, I definitely need to retire from YouTube, but hey, there's always podcasting. Our fears, as stated earlier, are a product of the unknown. However, when we put pen to paper and actually write out all of our fears and even the consequences of worst case scenarios, oftentimes we realize it's not the end of the world as we might have initially thought. Step 7 to overcoming the poverty mindset. Ignore the media. More specifically, ignore the media's portrayal of wealth. When we Google rich and the wealthy, we're bombarded with images of lottery winners, celebrities, and tech billionaires. Thus, if you were to base your assumption of what becoming rich is just based on these search results, you would come to believe that you either need to get lucky, be born with specific genes, or have a brilliant business idea in order to become rich. But this is not true. Most wealthy didn't become rich by winning the lottery or starring in an Academy Award-winning film. And tech billionaires like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk are an anomaly rather than the norm in the business world. The media is in the business of gaining attention. You read articles regarding the lavish lifestyles of celebrities or the recent winner of the Mega Millions because it gains attention. I doubt many of us would be excited to read an article about a small business owner who frugally managed his way to millions over a decade, or the real estate investor who purchased buy and hold investments over a 20-year time period. The media is powerful and has a great ability to shape our perspective of the world. And if we watch it long enough, it can perpetuate the poverty mindset that we can't build wealth because we aren't good looking enough, or talented enough, or smart enough. So do yourself a favor and ignore the media. Step 8 to overcoming the poverty mindset. In the line of ignoring the media, ignore the Joneses. Social media is amazing. I remember when Facebook first came out. When I was stationed overseas with the military, I remember posting pictures of some of my overseas experience online. It gave me the ability to share my experience with hundreds of my friends simultaneously instead of sending them photos one by one via email. I was mesmerized by its multiplying effect. Fast forward several years into the future, I, along with millions of other individuals, are now hooked onto the social media platform and many others. Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We can't wait to see what our friends are up to. What new places are they visiting? What new car did they purchase? What cool new restaurants are they eating at? And little by little, it starts to affect our own lifestyle. We can't just sit by and see our friends buy a new car. We need to get one as well so we can post a picture online. We have to go out and try out that new restaurant that everyone is raving about. In a way, poverty mindset is an extension of social comparison. We're conditioned to compare our lifestyle with someone else, and it's never enough. It's a bottomless pit because someone somewhere will always have nicer things and better lifestyle than me. Let's again save ourselves the trouble and ignore the Joneses. Step 9 to overcoming the poverty mindset. Be wary of being penny wise and pound foolish. The phrase penny wise and pound foolish actually originates from the British currency. In the British currency, the penny is a smaller unit of currency and the pound is a larger unit. Think pennies versus dollars when thinking US currency. It's an idiom that describes a situation where someone is so focused on saving small amount of money in the short run that they lose money in the long run. For my wife and I, when we were shopping at Ross and looking for bargain deals, we were essentially being penny wise and pound foolish. We would spend hours looking for the right deal that could end up saving us $10, or if we're lucky, $20. But we're spending our precious time to save that $10 or $20. We had essentially discounted the value of our time. If we were wise with our time, our most precious resource, we should have simply paid full price for the item of clothes we wanted and spent the extra time on more productive activities such as education, with family, or other ways to make more money. Step 10 to overcome the poverty mindset. Surround yourself with the right people. The people we surround ourselves with are the biggest influence on our behavior, attitudes, and results. And it's not an understatement to say who we're around sets the course of our life. In the words of the motivational speaker Jim Rohn, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if the people around you are constantly acting penny wise and pound foolish and are pessimistic about the world, it will naturally seep into your mind as well. And to be honest, it's draining to be around people who are constantly negative and pessimistic. Audit your circle and surround yourself with people who have a wealth mindset, not poverty mindset. Darren Hardy writes in The Compound Effect, according to research by social psychologist Dr. David McClend of Harvard, the people you habitually associate with determine as much as 95% of your success or failure in life. Thank you guys for watching The Spirit of Your Circle. If you'd like to know my personal inner circle, please check out my video here. Until next time, all the best.